Hey, welcome back to Elevating Us podcast, where we discuss how to enhance and excel your personal journey. Y'all, this episode, we are just catching up on life. I know that we have had an episode or two in the past where we talked about hard stops in life and how life throws you a curveball and all the things, but I just want to reiterate and also give y'all a life update because a lot has been going on. We have not been posting our weekly episodes due to life, and life does happen, but for good reason. And we're going to talk about all the things of why that is and moving forward. So, y'all, I bought my first home. Let's hit on the topic of the process of buying my first home. It was okay. I will say it was okay. The most stressful part for me was actually picking a home. I initially had my mind set on this one home, but that did not pan out. So then it was like back to the drawing board. And then I was just going through a number of homes, just viewing what I like about them, what I don't like about them, trying to basically put my dream home. Oh, if I can take this part from this house and put it with this house, then that'll be perfect. But one thing that I am so happy to have was a good realtor to tell me, okay, Kaylin, this is your first home. Yes, you want to love it, but pick your top three. And we'll go with your top three. We'll go view them. You tell me what you like, what you don't like, and then we'll go from there. So we'll do a process of elimination. And that's pretty much what I did. The hardest part was visiting so many homes and picking out which one that I wanted. But when it came to the actual home that I did pick, did the inspection, did the paperwork, smooth process. It was very seamless, very quick. I think instead of closing within 30 days, I actually closed in maybe like 3 weeks, three and a half weeks. It happened very quickly. It happened so quickly, y'all. Let me tell you, a lot went on that day. May the 9th, I signed the paperwork for my first home. I had to take care of some family business prior to that morning. And as soon as I left from signing the papers, I went to one of my niece's graduation. And it was just a day full of events. So after the graduation, she went with the rest of her friends and family to go change, decompress, do all the things, get ready for the evening. I came back to the house with my mom, some of my sisters, and some of my nieces and nephews. And before I opened the door, as soon as I pulled up, for me, it was, let me go ahead and pray over this land, because I do want it to be prosperous. I want it to be great. I want it to be all the things and more. But it was more important for me to say, okay, this is a new start for me. So let me ensure that it will be a blessed and peaceful space. So I prayed over the land, prayed over the door before I even put the key in. And then we did like a little family prayer circle when we got in. And it was off to the races after that. We started sanitizing everything. We started moving things. That very next day we were moving, and it was just a lot of new ventures. It was exciting. It was scary. It was so surreal. But one thing that I forgot was how challenging moving and unpacking can be, and with me trying to keep up with all the things that I was doing prior to the move and all the habits that I had been stacking, it did fall to the wayside. And for me, I did have that guilt feeling of, I felt like I wasn't doing enough. But in the same token, with talking with my family, my friends, it was, okay, Caitlin, you have to realize that you just made a huge life transition And you have to give yourself time. You have to just take it a day at a time. The house isn't going nowhere. You can make it your own, but in your own time, and it doesn't have to be done in a week. It doesn't have to be done in a month. Like, literally just give yourself that time, that grace to breathe, move in, but take your time, because it doesn't have to be put together right now. I'm not a perfectionist anymore, but I am very keen on organization. Like, everything has to have its space. And with that being said, I did have a really challenging time trying to get adjusted, because I'm still working during this time period. I'm still working, I'm still trying to work out, I'm still trying to do all the things and get involved in the community and everything in between. But I can't find the things that I needed because things were still packed up, and that added on to the frustration. So I had to just take my time to prioritize, okay, what needed to be unpacked now, and just move from there. What can wait? Like, some things can be put off to the next week or so, or handle that later. Just put it in a little corner, and then I'm gonna deal with that later. But just prioritizing the things that I needed to get unpacked now, the things that I needed to get taken care of at that time frame. With that being said, if you have the option of taking off to pack and then move and unpack, even if it's like just a few days, or if you have to break it up, however, wherever, if you can make it happen to where you take off of work, I would highly suggest it. I would hands down highly suggest it, because that does add on to the extra stress of trying to ensure that you are doing your job while trying to uproot yourself and get rooted into your new space. It's very challenging. It is not recommended. So if you are moving, I highly suggest take your time, take time off. But I did have to factor in resting. And one of my mistakes was that I felt like that I could just do it all. So I can get off of an 8 or 10 hour shift and then come home and start unpacking and moving and doing all the things and cleaning and everything. It was too much. It was too much. I stressed myself out. I wore myself ragged, and I ended up hitting a stall point of, like, I can't do anything. And I got to a point of where I started feeling my body shut down because I wasn't giving it the adequate rest that it needed. I wasn't eating properly. I wasn't, getting my water intake. Like, I felt the dehydration, but I was also like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. So I just put the intake of ensuring that I had the proper nutrition and the right hydration to the side. And then I was like, okay, I really gotta sit down. I gotta sit down. I gotta implement the rest. I gotta implement these essential things so that I don't make myself sick. This is supposed to be a joyous time, not so much a overly stressed time. It wasn't like anyone was putting stress on me, or there was a circumstance that was out of my control that put stress on me. Like, literally, I put the stress on myself. So I had to, with the help of my family, I had to self-regulate. I had to analyze what was going on, do the self-regulation, and realize that I can pace myself, and it is okay. And I don't have to feel guilty about not having it all together. And another thing that I want to highlight to everyone is that you're not going to always have it figured out. You're not going to always have it together, but you can only do what you can, okay? And we want to find that peace and find that joy in doing the things that we can, the things that we are in control of. We want to celebrate those things. There's going to be a lot of things that are out of our control, but we can't hone in on that. We can't harbor on the things that are out of our control. We can't feel guilty about the things that are literally out of our control. We only can do so much. We are human. We make mistakes. We do what we can. We have to decompress. We have to give ourselves time to get acclimated to our now and then preparing for what's next, okay? But I say all that to say that this process has been interesting. It has been great after I have gotten myself together and stressed a little less. It has been a true eye opener, and I've been in my new home for almost 3 months now. It has gotten a great ways, but I will say it still feels surreal. Like I'm still trying to wrap my head around it because it is a big transition. Sometimes I still can't believe that I have been blessed to buy my first home and then I'm actually in my first home. But it's been great. So moving forward from that, we also had a birthday, honey. So we moved in May and my birthday was in July. And so celebrated with family and friends. It was a wonderful, wonderful occasion. As I have gotten into my older years over the last several years, the things that I cherish most is just being around my loved ones and trying to be that light in their life, trying to be there for support and to help. That's just one of the things that I love, just being able to help and support others. And so moving from that while also still getting settled in, I got to a point of where, because it was so much with packing and unpacking and everything, I did get to a point of where I fell off from my workout routine. I fell off from reading. We took a break from our podcast episodes because life hits. But one of the things that we have to be intentional about is giving ourselves that space, that grace, but then slowly picking back up those good habits that we find ourselves truly enjoying, and we find peace in those habits. So for me, I started back doing the audiobooks. I started back reading my books. Now, is it every day? Absolutely not. But is it when I can and a few times throughout the week? It is. And for me, it is a process of just getting back in the habit. We don't have to have it like just go full throttle back into the productivity and all the things, but just picking up that baton and starting somewhere. Pick your starting point. Take your time with it. Slowly build that habit back up and know that it's okay that you took a break from it and now you're coming back to it. The most important part of the journey is acknowledging that we stopped, but starting again. That is the most important part, is just starting again. You can fail 1,000 times, but it is okay because you learn from those failures, you pick up and you start it again. Now, you can adjust the course and the plan as needed, but it's just picking that thing back up and not letting failure stop you, or not letting life stop you from doing the things that you find peace and joy in. And so for me, it was okay. I took a break from reading and going to the gym, but now I'm starting to slowly pick that back up. But I'm not putting a lot of pressure on myself to say, oh, I have to go to the gym 5 days out the week, and if I don't, then I'm failing, and all the things that go down this loophole. It is literally, okay, do I have the energy and the time to go to the gym today? If so, yes. If I did, great, wonderful. I'm going to celebrate my little accomplishment of going back to the gym. Now, whether that has been once or twice a week, if I got that exercise in, I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to say, okay, Caitlin, you did a great job with one, having the awareness of if you have the capacity to do this. And if you did do this and you said that you were going to do this, you actually did it. Wonderful job, Kaylin. Let's move on to the next thing at hand, okay? So I give myself that little celebration, but I also give myself that space to not have pressure on how many times a week I am doing this. Okay, I'm taking my time, easing back into it, just building that habit slowly but surely back up, and then I'll add on to that habit as time go on. But one thing that I am not going to do is put extra pressure and stress on myself, but also overload myself. Okay, I'm gonna give myself that time to get adjusted. I'm going to give myself the space to not feel guilty, but in turn celebrate what I'm actually doing, and even celebrating the rest, because sometimes we get so caught up in life that it's like a rat race. We have to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this, but we're not taking the time in our day or in our week to slow down and truly rest our bodies, rest our minds, and be able to recover from the day at hand or recover from that stressful week. So we have to just take the time to implement that rest and give ourselves that space to acknowledge that we need rest and celebrate that we actually have rested. Okay, so those are some of the things that I am doing. Now, another thing that I am intentively going to do is start getting involved in the community and doing some volunteering and some community outreach. That's one thing that I did move away from when I did change cities, just because life happened and I ended up working more so than I had time to actually see what was in my community to where I could volunteer and where I can dedicate that time. But that is all in the past now, and we are here and we are today. So I am intentively going to get back in the community, see what's out there, see how I can get involved, because that's just one of the things that I really cherished doing when I was in high school, college, and even a little bit after college. So another thing that I do encourage you all to do is just find your hobbies. Try new hobbies. See what works for you, see what doesn't work for you. The best thing that you can do is say, hey, I tried it, I liked it, I didn't like it, I'm going to move on from it. There's limited regret there if you are trying something and going after something, but you realize that you don't like it, and you can pivot from there and know that it's okay. Now, as far as getting back to our podcast and getting involved in all the things with Elevated Life Coaching and Elevating Us podcast, we are going to start doing the lives. We have 2 tentative days in mind of when we will be going live. Y'all be on the lookout for that. We want to socialize in real time, which is the point of the lives. We love the fact that we can post the videos and get you all's comments, but we want to have that real-time interaction with you all. Love to talk to you all. So we will be doing a few lives. We'll let you all know the tentative dates and time before we actually go live. That way we can have you there and it's not a last minute thing. But we're just super excited about this next quarter and this next journey of what we're doing, where we're going. But the whole point of this episode was just to get you all caught up and shed some light into my personal life of knowing that sometimes life happens, and knowing that it is okay to take a pause on certain things as long as you pick them back up, or as long as you find your hobbies, your habits, and the things that you deem important in your life and that brings peace and joy and happiness in your life, that makes you feel fulfilled and that also helps your inner circle. Then it is okay to take a pause and pick it back up when necessary. Sometimes you have to put it on pause, and then sometimes you can pick it back up. It's all about not being stagnant, giving yourself that time to adjust where necessary, and being able to start again. And you can start over as many times as you want, because we're ever evolving, we're ever growing, and sometimes certain things just don't fit where we are in life anymore. Okay, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of catching up and getting updated on all the new things over the last few months. Make sure that y'all like, follow, and subscribe us on all social media platforms at Elevated Life Coaching and Elevating Us Podcast on YouTube. We will see y'all next week. We hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, amazing week. Bye.